Hey, hi, good morning, all of you. So today we will be discussing about environmental management accounting. So this is the topic which is left and we will cover it today. And with that, we will cover some numericals and case studies and questions from all the topic which we have studied so far. So let's start with environmental management accounting. All right. So before starting the session, one question that will come in our mind is it important for the organization to consider environment? Is it important for every organization to consider environment? Because see, the point is that every organization is engaged in earning money. Every organization is engaged in making money. Every organization. So the question is that, is it important to consider the environment, that how we are, how the business is impacting the environment? What is the impact of the business organization and their activity on environment? Is it important to consider? So the point is that if you see, we have studied, see, financial factor is important for the business. It is important to consider the financial factors. All right, it is important to consider the financial factors. But now the question is that, is it important to consider some non-financial factors? Now, if you will see environment, we are considering here environment, effect on environment. So it may affect the environment, right? And we have to consider its accounting, how it is affecting the organization and how it will impact the organization monetarily and non-monetarily both, right? How in money terms it will affect the business, because the point is that if the organization is working, obviously they are using the resources from the organization. When the organization is producing the goods and making money, they are using the resources from the environment. And when you are using the resources, then obviously in some way you are affecting, if the organization is affecting the environment. See, we use electricity, we use raw material from the environment, we use many other resources from the environment. Point is that we get the resources from the environment. So since we get the resources from the environment, we are actually liable toward the environment. The organizations are actually liable toward environment. And so we should consider the impact. We should consider the impact on the business organization. We should consider the impact of business organization on environment. We should consider it, right? Okay. So you will see here that, the global warming is a major concern these days. Global warming, depletion of ozone layer, ozone layer is getting damaged and it is increasing a lot of diseases. So depletion of non-renewable sources of energy, non-renewable like petrol, diesel, these are non-renewable. Once you will use it and consume it and finish it, you will not get it again. It will take time, millions of years to regenerate these resources. So these are all non-renewable resources. So the point is that, and loss of natural habitat, point is that every organization, those who are producing the goods, they are using actually the resources from the environment. And there are some of the resources which you will once consume will never be regenerated. It will once be finished, it will be difficult to regenerate them. All right. So for that reason, we are accountable. Every organization is accountable toward environment. All right. So organizations should consider what cost they will incur toward environment and what are the benefit if they are incurring those costs. Now, what are the costs? Let me discuss quickly with the costs the organization will incur. All right. So let me give you some example. Like, for example, some organization have some legal requirements, legal requirement that, they can't, if they're producing pollution, like they're producing air pollution or water pollution. So obviously the government has made some law for them, so that they will not harm the rivers, they will not harm the air. You can see in Delhi, we face so much air pollution here. In Delhi, though we have, enough green area also. In Delhi, we have enough green area. Still, Delhi is the highest polluted capital in world, among the highest polluted capital in the world, especially during winter. So why is this population? Why is this air pollution? You can imagine during COVID when the business was shut down, it was all clean. The environment was clean, river was clean, everything was clean. So obviously these business organizations are harming the nature, right? So the point is that obviously some law have been created against these companies, those who are harming the natures. They are polluting the rivers, air pollution, and various other type of pollutions. So obviously some law have been created, and if they do not follow the law, maybe fine will be imposed on them. All right. And if they, if they damage the environment, maybe sometime they will lose their brand loyalty, brand image, brand value. All right. So we have to consider all these things. All right. So major area of application of environmental management accounting, we will consider environmental management accounting for the pricing of the product, budgeting, investment appraisal, cost calculation, and saving the environmental project. Now, you will see here carbon footprint. I've taken an example here. We have this example in our book. So you can see some organization, they work on all these things. One topic will come under chapter 8, that will be triple bottom line, right? Where you will study that the organization should not focus just on making money. That will be financial factors. The company should not just focus on making money, but the environment, but the company is also liable toward environment. The company is also liable toward society. Because you're using the resources from the environment, you are liable, accountable toward society. So the point is that organization should not just engage in making money. So you must have seen some company actually work on carbon footprint. Zero emission of carbon dioxide, because carbon dioxide will result in global warming. So zero emission of carbon dioxide. All right. If you will see, last night I have read about an organization, a company in this fashion industry. Right, I have heard an article about fashion industry. So fashion industry, these clothing industries, they actually produce they are actually responsible 10% of global warming. So what I have heard, we should not use, we should try to use clothes as much as possible. And so the point is that it is responsible for 10% global warming. Can you imagine? So the point is that every organization should focus on zero carbon footprint and should focus on triple bottom line, should focus on creating such strategies which should not damage the environment in any way. Not even in form of carbon dioxide. If carbon dioxide will emit, it will result in global warming. Not even emitting the waste in the rivers, not even it will result in air pollution. No type of pollution is acceptable, right? So the organization should try to make such policies that should not at all pollute the environment. All right. Okay, but we have seen some major consequences in past, and because of which the environmental management accounting is very important. All right, so let me discuss some environmental consequences which we have already faced in past. All right, though you can see minor things happen everywhere, like, refrigerator and air condition, AC and refrigerator. So this is something I have studied from the class 10 standard school. So I have learned it that these AC and refrigerator, they release some kind of gases, right? They release some type of gases, hydrochlorofluorocarbon something. I don't exactly remember the name of the gas. But these gas are actually responsible to depletion of ozone layer. We have an ozone layer, O3, right? O3 is an ozone layer just above the atmosphere, which prevent the harmful rays of the sun to reach in earth, right? Sun have many harmful rays like gamma rays and in alpha rays, beta rays. So ozone layer protect our environment, our earth from all such harmful rays, right? That those rays may result in cancer like diseases, right? So the point is that O3 is responsible to prevent our environment from all such rays which is emitted by the sun. But now the point is that if you will see, if we are depleting this ozone layer O3, what will happen? Those harmful rays will reach to earth, and it may result in harmful diseases like skin cancers and many other type of cancers, skin diseases. All right, so I hope you can understand how important it is for every organization to be responsible toward environment. All right, Acha, let me give you one more example. So just in front of you, if you will see, we have an image, right? This is an image of BP company. Now, what is BP? This is actually a British petroleum company. British petroleum company, and their work is to draw the crude oil. Crude oil. We get petrol and diesel from the crude oil. Petrol, diesel, and many other things from crude oil. Now, the point is that if you will see here, what happened, this British petroleum company, they were extracting the crude oil from the ocean, and what happened, there was a spillage, means the drill got broken for some reason, and the crude oil, it spilled off in water, and 5-6 people lost their life in this incident. And what happened, this crude oil was spilled over the ocean. So what happened, you can see this image, this crude oil was all spilled over the ocean, you can see, and actually it damaged the aquatic life a lot. Like most of the aquatic animals, like they died during this incident. So this actually damaged the environment. Can you imagine? So many aquatic life, they lost their life. Aquatic animal, they lost their life because of this. So you can imagine that actually we are responsible toward environment also, right? So we should not just focus, organization should not just focus on making money. That's okay if you want to do the business and you are producing the goods and services, but that's okay. But still, every industry is responsible toward environment. They're responsible toward environment. They can damage anything. You can see acid rain, air pollution, solid waste, groundwater pollution, water pollution, river pollution. All right, different type of pollution. Ozone layer will get depleted. Then what will happen? Harmful rays of sun will reach to earth. So many different, and it will result in what? Obviously, society, the people will get affected, right? Skin cancers, many harmful diseases, right? Chronic health diseases, environmental degradation. So many health problems happen due to damage of water, damage of air, damage of ozone layer. So many health problem arises because of this. So I hope you can understand. And now let me tell you one more thing. In India, generally you will see these organizations, they uses electricity. These organizations, they uses electricity. Right. Now you people will say, ma'am, electricity, there is no harm now. No harm, because generally we generate the electricity by using the solar panel. Ab dekho, solar panel mein, ma'am, there is no harm, right? And ma'am, they generate the electricity through windmill or water mill, right? Ma'am, these are all renewable source of energy, and it is not even harming the nature, right? So you can see these days we are all shifting toward electric vehicles. Electronic means we are using electricity a lot. But the point is that in India, in India, what happened, in India? In India, we use 70% of the electricity from the coal. How we generate the electricity? More than 70%, let me tell you. In India, more than 70% electricity we generate by burning the coal. First, we burn the coal. Then what happened? From burning the coal, heat will produce. That heat is used to generate steam, and that steam is used to generate electricity. So the point is that even electricity is a renewable source of energy. It do not harm the nature if you are generating it through solar panel, through windmill, through water mill. If you generate it through these ways, or nuclear plant, even nuclear plant, but we have a problem on disposing the nuclear plant. So nuclear plant is also okay. But the point is that in India, most of the electricity we generate through burning the coals. And you can imagine when we are burning the coals, it is again harming the nature by releasing carbon dioxide in nature. When you burn something, it release carbon dioxide, right? When we burn something, you burn a paper, it will release carbon dioxide, right? So the point is that in India, we generate the electricity by burning the coal. And when you burn the coal, it will result in releasing carbon dioxide, and it will result in global warming. All right, it will result in global warming. So the point is that you can imagine that how massively these business organizations impacted the environment, adversely impacted the environment in every possible way, either by releasing carbon dioxide or by harming the water, by harming the air, by harming the soil. Plastic dispose, when we dispose the plastic bottles, what happened? They are not biodegradable. Polythenes, when we throw polythene outside home, how long it take to biodegrade the polythene, right? Millions of years. These polythenes are not biodegradable, actually non-biodegradable. So these plastic waste, you can see 5 rupees chips packet or 10 rupees chips packet, right? These are just 10 or 5 rupees chips packet, but can you imagine the wastage it generating, right? Soil waste, right? It is not biodegradable. So how, it is impacting the nature. The plastic bottle which we drink the water and we throw outside, the water bottle, Bisleri and other water bottle which we drink and throw outside. Can you imagine how they are, harming the nature? Massive waste, right? So can you imagine how important it is for every organization to think about the nature? Because if you will not think about the nature, indirectly it will impact our health, right? If we will not think about the nature, indirectly it will impact the health of all the humans. So I hope you can understand how important it is. All right. So for that reason, accounting of environment is equally important for every organization. And for that reason, we have this topic about accounting of environment. All right. So we have this topic of accounting of environment. Okay. So you can see here, they have considered the internal environment cost and external environment cost. All right, okay, let's talk about internal environment cost, external environment cost. Let's talk about environment cost. So this was a study in 1997 by United Nations about the environmental cost, and they have classified all the cost as an environmental cost, internal cost, and external cost. Give me 1 minute. I hope the image is visible to all. Okay, so for example, here what is happening, the company is engaged in preparing the papers. Now you can imagine, our population is, beyond 100 crores of people. And we have most of our population is young generation. And they're all engaged in studies. And if you want to study, you have to use the papers. We need registers, we need books to study. We need all these things. So we need papers. And can you imagine how they prepare the papers? By cutting the trees? By cutting the trees? So if we cut the tree, can you imagine the level of pollution we are doing? So you can see, if we want to prepare the paper, we need electricity, we need buildings, we need Tree, you will get the raw material from the tree. है ना? From the tree, you will prepare the paper. We need labor, we need equipment. These are the resources which we will use to, these are the resources which we use to produce the papers. अब देखो, these resources are not free in nature. They are not free, right? So we have to pay some money. So the money which we pay to procure these resources is cost for the company. है ना? So money which we will pay to procure the tree, labor, equipment, fuel, building is cost for the company. Now think about it other way. When we cut the trees, what happened? When we cut down all the trees, it will result in what? Soil erosion. It will result in what? Air pollution. है ना? And when we are preparing, when we are using the factory, and when we are preparing the papers using the tree, what will happen? It will release or emit some air pollutions. You know, and this will all result in what? Either it will result in health problem, human health problem, or it will result in deforestation. When you're cutting the trees, it will result in deforestation. And when you're releasing the waste in nature, it will result in air pollution, water pollutions, right? So all these pollutions or environment damage which you are doing is all external cost. External environment cost. All right. Though it is impossible to put an actual dollar amount on these external costs, what we do know is the cost is not zero and therefore should not be ignored completely. You can imagine that every organization, if they are producing papers, they are using environment and they are harming the environment in this way. They are saying it is not easy to make an account of all these costs. These are all external costs. It is not easy to make an account of these costs, but we should consider it. They are not zero actually. So we should consider it. So what is the actual true cost for the company? One, internal cost. The company is actually incurring for producing the goods. They are using the resources. So this is internal cost to the company. And external, the financial statement which we prepare will be impacted by the internal cost. All right. The financial statement which we prepare impacted the internal cost. It will be impacted by internal cost. But what is the external cost? These costs are borne by the society. You are doing the water pollution. Entire society has to, repay for it. It is borne by the entire society. When we are producing air pollution, water pollution, society has to repay it, right? So these external cost is actually borne by the society. All right. So it will include what we are the society is using: the water, energy resources, air, health, soil erosion, forest degradation. This is all impacting the society, right? So the point is that this is actually the cost borne by the society. So I hope you can understand practically the organization should consider both. In case of environmental management accounting, the organization should consider both. Okay, let me tell you one more thing. So physical environment information will what? Physical flow of energy, water, material, as well as waste and emission. Now see here, what do we have here? You can see. Okay, so when we buy the raw material from the supplier, we put it in process 1, then we put it in process 2, then we put it in process 3, then we get the final product, and then we sell it to the customer. This is the business process, right? Now for producing the goods, we are using electricity. And I just told you in India, we use coal for producing electricity, not renewable sources. We are not using much renewable source. We do not have enough dams to produce electricity. We are not actually using solar panels to produce the electricity. So the point is that most of the electricity in our country is generated through coal. And burning of coal is actually emitting carbon dioxide in the nature, which harm the natures. Not good. Not at all good. All right. Okay. So you can imagine air pollution, right? We are depleting the nature, solid wastage. Organization, when they produce the goods, there must be some wastage which we dispose in the environment. We use the water, in textile industry for producing the clothes. They use gallons of water. Can you imagine, for coloring this blazer they need water? Point is that in textile industry they use huge amount of water. So they are using the water, obviously they are harming the nature, right? Unnecessary, they use it and then dispose it. Okay, they release it with the chemical in the nature. Earlier, the water was safe, but when they use it, they add the chemical into it and they release the chemical with water in rivers. They are damaging the rivers. Huh? So the point is that if for such waterways, they should use what? Cleaning of water. They should use some process through which they can clean the water and they can use it in some forest area for the trees, for the growth of the tree. All right. Instead of releasing such water in river, instead of releasing these water in river or ocean, they should use these water, first clean it from the chemicals, then after cleaning it, use it in some area where you can grow the trees. Now the point is that when you want to clean this water waste, cleaning cost, they will have to incur the cleaning cost. So you can imagine so many different type of cost company will have to incur, right? Now, if you will see, they are classifying all these costs here in this form or in this form. So now let's understand these costs here. All right. These costs. So what are these costs? Prevention cost. They are classifying all the environmental cost in these four ways. Prevention cost, appraisal cost, then internal failure cost, then external failure cost. Right? Okay, let's try to understand these costs. So all the environment costs, they're classifying it in these forms. Okay. All the environmental costs, they're classifying it in these forms. Let's try to understand it. First is prevention cost. Now, what is prevention cost? Organization, these companies or industries have taken enough prevention. These industry have taken enough prevention to ensure that they are not releasing any kind of waste. And if they are releasing, they are recycling them and make it in usable form and not wasting it and not releasing it as a waste in environment. That will be prevention cost, right? The company have taken enough prevention not to release any waste. Take enough prevention so that no waste is released. Now, appraisal cost means company is doing enough checking, auditing to ensure auditing, inspection. So the company is doing enough checking, auditing, inspection to ensure that they are not releasing waste in the nature. Right? Internal failure cost, maybe the organization have some process which is releasing waste, like water waste. I have given you an example, water waste. So, in textile industry, they use gallons of water, like textile industry. They use gallons of water. And when they release these water in environment, it harm the natures. So what happened? These textile industry will have to refilter this water, and instead of releasing these water in river or ocean, they should recycle it, refilter it, and reuse in the company again. Reuse now, reuse it. Huh? So obviously, when the filtration process is required, cost. This will result in cost. It will come under internal failure cost. Acha, then what is external failure cost? When you have already released pollution. You have done air pollution, you have done water pollution, you have already done the pollution. Then what will happen? The government will impose penalty on you, fine, penalties, right? So this is what, when you are paying the fine and penalties for releasing the harmful waste in the environment, that will be external failure cost. Like if you will see here in this example, what happened, British Petroleum Company, this accident happened in British Petroleum Company, that while they were drilling the ocean and they were drawing crude oil through the pipes, it got broken. The pipe or drilling pipe got broken. And because the pipe got broken, it released all the crude in, ocean. And that damaged huge, aquatic life. That damaged, you can imagine. So now what will happen? The British government imposed huge penalty on British Petroleum Company. On this company, huge penalty, huge fine, and all the cleaning costs, cleaning of ocean was borne by this company. They have to clean the entire ocean from this crude oil. So all cleaning they have to incur. In this case, the British Petroleum Company will have to incur fine, penalties, and cleaning of the ocean cost, cleaning cost of the ocean. That will be external failure cost. All right. So if your prevention will be very high, prevention means like you have put some equipment in the organization which is reducing the pollution in environment. Like when there is air pollution, so for preventing the air pollution, you have put some devices which is cleaning the air. These factory, it releases the air, polluted air in environment. So what should they do here? When this air pollution is released, the company should here put some equipment. And these equipment should clean the air. Before releasing it in environment, clean the air. Clean it from all the harmful gases like carbon, silicon, right? Clean it from harmful gases, then release it. So obviously you can imagine this equipment is not free in nature, which is cleaning the air. It requires some cost, right? Okay, then regular auditing, checking, or inspection is required, that whether we are not releasing any harmful air. We are not releasing any harmful air. Harmful gas. We are not releasing, the company is not releasing any harmful gas. The company is not releasing any harmful water. Like textile industry, right? There is no soil erosion. And you can imagine polythene waste and many other type of waste. Maybe it is not coming in my mind, but there are many other type of waste which these organizations they do. So audit it, checking it, and it is the requirement of law. The law have been made. This is also the requirement of law. The government has made such law that you should put cleaning equipment, clean the water, reuse it, clean the air, then release it in the environment. So the government has actually made a lot of law to not so that to ensure that these companies should not release these harmful gas or water in environment. So these are all part of law. So the company will have to implement such filters, which is filtering the airs and the water. This will all comes under internal failure cost. And once you release it in environment, in any case, like an accident or accidentally you have released the water or air in the environment and it is damaging the environment, then you have to clean it. It is the responsibility of the company, those who are releasing it. Ab dekho, in India, you will say, ki, ma'am, humne to dekha hi nahi aisa kahin. We have never seen, we have seen so much pollution. Entire Yamuna river is, entire Yamuna, Ganga river is, so polluted. And you can see when it passed through Delhi, it passed through all metropolitan cities, Kanpur, what happened? The damage increases. All industrial. Kanpur is completely industrial area. Now it is not industrial area, but just few years back, it was all industrial area. So they all release their industries waste in river, Ganga river. They all, in Delhi, these all factories, they releases all their waste in Yamuna river. All water pollutions. So once in India, you will see no such laws, no such strict laws, and people pay bribe and, all these things happen, right? But here we are talking about America. I mean, the world. We are talking about the entire world. So in some country, they have very strict law. And for that reason, you can see these countries are clean. The rivers are so clean. You can compare Yamuna river with their rivers. The river is clean, air is clean, everything is clean because the government has created the law and the people follows the law. Simple. Right? Okay. So these are all environmental costs which we incur. Achha, just give me 1 minute. Let me see if you have any doubt. Do you have any doubt, any question? How we measure the environmental costs? Give me 1 minute. I'll explain you that how we will measure all these costs. First, try to understand what are the environmental costs. Then we will see that how we measure them. We have the method. So we will do it later on, right? We have the method to measure the environmental costs. But before that, first try to understand what are these environmental costs, right? Okay. So for that reason, you can see they have classified these in environmental costs. First is what? Prevention cost. All right. The first one is what? The first one is environmental prevention cost. Environmental prevention cost. So we have learned prevention is better than cure. If you will see, what will happen? We will incur the cost to prevent the organization releasing any waste in the environment. All right. So you can see, put such equipment which prevent the pollution in environment, right? Create the policies for environment, environmental driven research and development. Do such research and development so that you can reduce the environmental damage. Do such research and development, right? Then site and feasibility studies. Study about the site, industry site and the feasibility, that how you can reduce the damage to the environment. Then invest in protective equipment. Now, protective equipment means these are the equipment which will help the organization not to release in any kind of waste in the environment. So you can see these all type of costs the company is incurring here to prevent release of any air pollution, water pollution, or any kind of pollution. Whatever the cost the company is incurring here will come under preventive cost. They are taking the prevention not to release any kind of pollution or damage to the environment. Okay. So obviously this process is not free. The company will have to incur some cost here. So this will come under prevention cost. Next is Appraisal cost, environmental appraisal cost. Now what will happen? The company will keep doing inspection, auditing, reporting, testing, monitoring, right? So these all process, obviously it is done by some person in the company, right? It is not a free process. We need resources to check whether we are not releasing the waste, to check, right, to keep on checking, to keep on inspecting, auditing, that we are not at all releasing any type of waste in the environment. So this process of checking and auditing require what? Money, cost. You can see the company will have to comply with the law. I told you. Why are we auditing and checking? Because it is the requirement of the law. The law have been made in such a way that you should keep on auditing your organization. You should keep on checking and inspecting the company or the organization, that you are not at all releasing any waste in the environment. You should keep on doing that. It is the requirement of the law. Performing contamination test. Keep on perform the contamination testing. Then audit of environmental activities. Keep on auditing or checking the environmental activities. All right. So this will all come under environmental appraisal cost. This will all come here under environmental appraisal cost. Then I told you that we need such equipment that will help in recycling the product. Like, in textile industry, they release gallon of chemical waters, right, in rivers and ocean. So recycle those water by using filtration process, filter the water and reuse it in the organization. So recycling, reusing, right, will come under internal failure cost. Or disposing of toxic material. Now, if you want to dispose the toxic material, don't release it in environment freely. No. So pack it in somewhere and then dispose it properly so that it do not damage the environment. So such disposition cost, such cost of disposing the toxic material in environment, pack it properly. Toxic material, like you can imagine in a hospital, their waste is so much harmful for the nature. Hospital mein they use syringe, they use chemical, they use medicines, right? Gloves. So, and you can see that actually they are all infected. So hospitals should not dispose their waste free, like not freely in the nature. They should dispose it properly by packing them and then properly dispose. So when you are disposing these equipment in the environment, these material in the environment, the organization will have to incur disposing cost. Right? They have. Now what happened? Cleaning of ocean is required. Right? So when you have already damaged the environment by releasing the harmful gas or water or something, then cleaning process is required. This cleaning process will result in cost for the company. This will result cost for the company. This cleaning will result in cleaning up contaminated soil, restoring the land to its natural state. This cleaning process, right, will result in cost for the company. This will result in cost for the company. So this will come under external failure costs. So I hope that internal, external failure costs, these are all clear to you. If there is any doubt, please ask me. Okay? So we have learned about these four different type of cost: prevention cost, and appraisal cost, internal failure cost, and external failure cost. We have learned about it. If you have doubt, please ask me. Doubt? If you have doubt, please ask me. Yes. Do you have any doubt? Okay, so now after identifying these different type of costs, how we will make an account of them, right? How we will write these costs in the company, right? So if you will see here, identification and allocation of environmental cost in the cost of the company, they have different method here. So like activity-based costing, this is the most popular method which we use, or life cycle costing, we use it, right? How we find the cost, environmental cost in company now. Now, this is the answer of the question which a student asked me here. Environmental cost is a non-value-added activity. You have to check it. See, the point is that value-added activity means you create value for the customer. Environmental cost, you can't say it is non-value-added activity, because see, the point is that you cannot generate your product without using electricity. You cannot produce, like textile industry, they cannot produce the textiles without using water. So you can't say that these are non-value-added activity. We need these resources to produce the goods and give the value to the customer, right? For that reason, you cannot eliminate them 100% from the organization. It is not at all possible, right? You can imagine, without electricity, you can't work for even a single day. Without water, can't work in even a single day. You cannot eliminate them completely from the organization. They are not non-value-added activity, all right? Okay. Now, see, these costs will be accounted. We will prepare the cost sheet by using these methods. Okay. So first is input and output analysis. Second one is flow cost accounting. Third one is life cycle costing. And the fourth one is activity-based costing. All right. Okay. Now let's learn about them one by one. So the first one is what? Input and output analysis. What is it? What is input and output analysis? So if you will see, every organization have to make an account what input or the resources they are using and what output they are releasing. So the point is that input should always be equal to output. Input should always be equal to output. So input means we use the raw material, we use the resources, we use the electricity, we use the labor. These are all input for the company, right? So we use the raw material here. This is input. Now what happened, like tree, you use, for example, if you want to produce paper, you need tree. This is what input for the company. Or when you want to produce garments, textiles, when you want to produce, for example, we want to produce goods for the fashion industry, right? Like fabric, you want to produce fabric. So what will happen for the production of fabric? You need what? You need cotton, raw material, cotton. But during the production process, we need other resources also, like we need electricity. And we need what? Water also. But what is mentioned here, whatever the input resources you will use should be equal to output. Now this output can be what? You are producing the final good as an output, final product, and some of the output is waste. Like you are releasing water in the nature, air in the nature, right? And some other raw material which you want to dispose in the nature. So the point is that these waste, these are all part of output actually. So here we have to make an account what input you have used and what are the output you have, right? So if 100 kg of material have been bought, 80 kg finished good you have produced, and remaining 20 kg, the difference is a waste which you are releasing in the nature. In what form? Maybe 10% as a sold scrap and remaining 90% as a waste in the environment. You have to make an account. What is the input and what output you are releasing? You have to make an account here. We have to make an account here, right? Okay. We have to make an account. So first method was related to what? Input and output, right? First was input output analysis. We have to do the input output analysis. What is the input and what is the output, and input should always be equal to output. Okay, the next one is what? Flow cost accounting. So in case of flow cost accounting, what will happen? Makes material flow transparent by using the various data, which are quantity, physical quantity, cost, and value. So in case of flow cost accounting, it is all actually done for the material, that how you are using the material in the company, right? So what is the quantity of the material which you are using? Quantity. What quantity of material you are using, right? At what cost you are using, and what is the total value of these raw material, right? So we have to study about the material, how much quantity we are using, what is the cost, and what is their total value, right? We will study about it. Flow cost accounting. Then we have life cycle costing. Now, what is it? In case of life cycle costing, we will study what is the environmental cost we are incurring during the entire life of the product. We have learned about the life cycle costing. Life cycle costing means the cost which we incur during the entire life of the product. Every product have life. We have studied in last session that every product have life. So over the life, the product will pass through introduction stage, growth stage, maturity stage, and death or declining stage. So the product will pass through these stages. So during introduction, research and development you have done huge promotional expenses for the sale of the goods. During this process, you will check what type of internal environmental prevention cost, appraisal cost, internal failure cost, external failure cost you have incurred here. Then during the growth stage, what are the environmental costs? Means prevention cost, appraisal cost, internal failure cost, external failure cost, what costs you are incurring here during growth stage. Then in maturity stage, again, you will see what environmental costs you are incurring, right? Prevention cost, appraisal cost, internal failure cost, external failure cost. Similarly, in death stage, again, you will check what environmental costs you are incurring, prevention cost, appraisal cost, internal failure cost, external failure cost. So what will happen during the entire life? You will see what environmental cost the company is incurring over the entire life of the product will come here, life cycle costing. So in life cycle costing, we will study about the entire life of the product, what costs we are incurring over the entire life of the product. All right. Okay. Next is activity-based costing. So what will happen? We will find all possible cost here. Environmental cost. So we have already learned that we classify them as prevention cost, or as appraisal cost, or as internal failure cost, or as external failure cost. Right? So we classify them as per this, right? You will classify all the cost of environmental, then you will allocate these costs to the product on activity-based costing. So we will find the cost drivers. It is same like the question which we do in activity-based costing. If we are producing different product, we allocate the cost, environmental cost to different product using activity-based costing and using the cost drivers. All right, we have a question on this, so we will take a question on this topic. That's it. Okay, let's take a question on this topic. Yeah, this one. So this question, if you will see, this question is based on activity-based costing, means finding the environmental cost, allocating the environmental cost to the product, whatever the product you are producing, using what? Activity-based costing. Read this question. Read it, take your time, take 1 minute and read it, and then we will discuss it. Take 1 or 2 minutes, read the question, and then we will discuss it. Yes, please read it, and then we will discuss this. this question. So what is happening here? BES is a chemical manufacturing company that produces two chemical XA and XB. So the company is producing two product XA and XB. Right? Environmental activities and the costs associated with the two chemicals are, these are the costs associated. Environmental costs, what? Packing material cost, energy cost, fines of releasing toxic material in air, operating cost of pollution control equipment. All right. So these are the different costs here. Let's do this question. So first cost is what? Your packing material cost. What is it? Packing material cost is what? 3,60,000. Right? You will allocate these costs to the product XA and XB. We will allocate it to XA and XB. All right. How will you allocate this cost? You have to check these cost driver. Which cost driver fit here, you will find it, right? So I can see packaging material quantity is given, right? You have to check it, that which cost driver will fit here. Then the second cost is what? Energy cost. What is energy cost? Rupees 96,000. Then the third one is what? Fine. Fine for release of toxic. Okay. What is it? Rupees 48,000. Then third one is what? Pollution control equipment. Cost on pollution control equipment. How much? 112, right? These are the cost. Now you have to check what the cost drivers. Okay. So one by one. Find the cost driver and solve it quickly. Let me give you some time and solve it. Yes. So first is your packaging material cost. That will be this. This one. So you will use the cost driver here, packaging material. And the ratio will be 80:40. You will allocate this entire 3,60,000 cost. Sorry. We will allocate this entire cost 3,60,000 as 8:4 ratio. All right. Okay. The next one will be allocated on the basis of energy usage. What is it? 60:30. So 6:3 ratio, you will use it to allocate it, the second one. Right? So this ratio, we will use this cost driver for allocating this cost. All right. And for this cost, we will use this cost driver. All right. Now the next one. Next is what? Your fines for releasing toxic air. How will you allocate this cost? So toxic releases in pound. So if the toxic release will be high, fine will be high. If the toxic release will be less, fine will be less. है ना? So it will be on the basis of toxin release. How much toxic we are releasing? 200 is to 40. Or you can say 20 is to 4 ratio. All right. Okay. Next is what? Pollution control equipment. So what is the cost here? Operating cost of pollution control equipment. So we have a pollution control equipment, and the operating cost of pollution control equipment is this. We will allocate it on the basis of pollution control machine hour. We will allocate it on this basis, pollution control machine hour, right? So pollution control machine hour. What is the time here? 32 is to 8 ratio. Right, let's do this question now. So I'm using the calculator in front of you. Right, and let's do this question. Two lakh 40,000. So this is coming as 2,40,000. And what else? One lakh 20,000. All right. Okay. Now the next one, energy cost. We will use this cost driver and we will use it to allocate the cost to these two products, right? Okay, 96,000 into 6 divided by 9. 64,000. Right? And the second one is what? Minus 96,000. 32,000. You know? Okay, next one. Where is the cursor? Okay. Give me 1 minute. Okay, so next is what? Your fine of for release of toxic 48,000. 48,000 into 20 divided by 24. 40,000. 8,000. Correct me if I'm wrong somewhere. I don't. 112 into 32 divided by 40. 8,9,600. Then minus it with 112. This value. 22,400. Right? Now add them. Add these two values. Add them. You will get the cost of these two products. add them and find their cost. All right. So you can see these are very simple question, not at all difficult, right? One eight two 400. So this will be the cost here. So in this way, we will find the cost. All right. Now tell me, do you have any doubt here? Any of you, any student have doubt here? Yes. Do you have doubt? Okay, so what is the question? Calculate the environmental cost. We have calculated the environmental cost already, right? So the question is about calculate the environmental cost per kg of each chemical produced. Oh, so we have to find the environmental cost per kg. So now let's see how much chemical we are producing. So if you will see here, the chemical produces this, right? These are the quantity of the chemical which we are producing. For XA, it is 6 lakh. For XB, it is 15 lakh. So now what will happen? Divided with 6 lakh and 15 lakhs so that you can find this cost per unit. All right. Okay. So divide this with 6 lakh and 15 lakh. So the output which you are producing here is 6 lakh. You know, output. And here we are producing 15 lakh output. Find the cost per unit. Cost per unit, right? Write it here. Let me write it here. Cost per unit. See what is it coming. So this is 4,336,000 divided by 6 lakh. 0.0.72. Okay, and let's see for this 1,824,000 divided by 15 lakh. This is 0.12. So in this way, you can find how much the cost, environmental cost you are having here for 1 unit of final good. You can find the environmental cost we are having here for 1 unit of final goods, right? Achha, now tell me if you have any doubt here. If you have any doubt, please tell me. All right. Question. And see, I have taken a lot of question for practice. You can see here. So we will take this question of target costing. We left it in second last session. So we will do this, and you can see I have taken more questions here. So today we will do all these questions, right? We will solve all these questions now. Okay, because our chapter is complete. We have already covered the concepts. So we will do all these questions today. Now let's take a break, and then I'll come back, and then we can practice more questions. Hi, let's take another question of environmental management accounting. So this is the next question, quite a lengthy question. So let's do this question, but you will see the question is lengthy, but it is very easy. So you can see though the question will come lengthy in examination, but actually they're very simple. They're not difficult. They're lengthy, but they are easy. Okay, let's do this question. So we have this question, right? Give me 1 minute. Right. So we have this question, read it. Okay, so what is the question? Let's read it together. Or if you want, you can take time to read this question. Okay, so let's read this question together. What is it? Max is an agro fertilizer company, produces grade Y and grade Z fertilizer. So there is a company and the company is producing two type of fertilizer, grade Y and grade Z. They're producing these two type of fertilizer. 1 kg of grade Y fertilizer sells for rupees 280 per kg. Selling price is given. For 1 kg of this product, the selling price is given. And 1 kg of grade Z fertilizer, the selling price is 400 rupees per kg. So you can see here the sale price is given here. All right, the sale price is given here. What else? The product passed through 3 cost centers. Okay, CX1, then CX2, then CX3. So the product passed through these 3 different centers, cost center, during the manufacturing process. The direct material cost per kg of fertilizer is produced 300. Okay. Direct material cost is 300 and the labor cost is 200, which is mentioned here. You can see 300 is direct material cost, you know, and 200 is direct labor cost. So this is mentioned here. The direct material cost is mentioned here and the direct labor cost is mentioned here. And you can see they have actually classified these direct material cost to these 3 cost center, that how much material is required in cost center C1, CX1, how much material cost is required in cost center CX2, and how much material is required in cost center CX3. So this is given here, that how much material is required in respective cost centers. All right. Okay. Next is what? How much labor efforts is required in respective cost center is also given here. All right. So this is given here. What else we have? The cost of allocation to grade Y and grade Z. Since here we are producing 2 product. Product is what? Product is Y and Z. We are producing these 2, grade Y and grade Z. We are producing these 2 different product here. All right. Okay. And obviously we are using CX1, CX2, CX3. These cost center, obviously the material will use here respectively. Similarly, we are using here what? Labor. So you will find CX1, CX2, CX3, how much labor is used here. You have to make the calculation accordingly. This will give you how much material is used, material, and this will give you how much labor is used here respectively. So you can see the total material is 300. But this 300 is used as 90 here, 120 here, and 90 here. And here the labor cost is 200. So this 200 cost is used as 60 rupees here, 80 rupees here, and 60 rupees here respectively. Now you have to allocate this on what basis? We have to allocate it on what basis? This one, 90 as 30%, or 3:7. Let me write the ratio. Instead of percentage, 3:7 ratio, you can allocate it to Y and Z. Similarly, Y to equal, 5:5 means equal. 3:7. है ना? So you will use this ratio to allocate the cost. Okay, the next one is what? Labor. For labor also, they are using the same ratio, 3:7, 30 is to 70 percentage, then 5:5 means equal, and this 3:7. So in this way, you can allocate the material cost and the labor cost to these products respectively. We can do it in this way. All right, okay. All of expenses per kg of fertilizer produced is rupees 150. This is allocated equally. Acha dekho, apart from material cost and labor cost, the company is having some other cost. What are these costs? Overhead costs. The company is having overhead costs. All right, all expenses considering to be overheads per kg of fertilizer produced, this is overhead cost, is allocated equally between the product, right? So apart from material and labor cost, the company is having overhead cost also, right? So the company is having overhead cost here. What is it? You can see overhead cost. So the overhead cost is rupees 150, which will be allocated equally, 1:1, you can say. All right, because it is mentioned here, right? See, it is mentioned equally between the product. This overhead cost should be allocated equally between the product. Okay, what else? Pricing decision for the fertilizer is made based on the above cost allocation. According to the cost allocation, we will do the pricing of the product. All right, next. The management accountant of the company has recently come across the concept of environmental management accounting. The pricing of the product should also factor in environmental costs generated by each product. Now they are saying that we should consider the environmental cost also. So instead of just considering the material cost, labor cost, overhead cost, we should also consider the environment cost. Right, this is mentioned that we should consider the environment cost also, right? Okay, what else? The management accountant of the company has recently come across environmental management accounting. The pricing of the product should also a factor of environmental cost generated by each product. An analysis of the overhead expenses reveal that the total cost is rupees 150 per kg of fertilizer produced. This is the total cost, including incentives cost of 90 per kg of fertilizer. The incinerator is used to dispose the solid waste produced during the manufacturing process. Below is the cost center and product wise information of the solid waste. All right. Okay. So they have mentioned you that the company is having some environmental cost also. The total cost is what? What is the total environmental cost? 150. Total cost is rupees 150. All right. An analysis of overhead expenses revealed the total cost 150 per kg of fertilizer produced. So this cost will include what? Incinerator cost, which is rupees 90. So the other cost will be 60. Now, what is the question? Incinerator is used to dispose the solid waste. This is used for dispose the solid waste. Incinerator is used to dispose the solid waste produced during the manufacturing process. Below is the cost center and product wise information of the solid waste. Okay, what else we have? What we have to do here, so calculate based in the impact that each product has on the environment. The management would like to revise the cost allocation to the product based on taking into account the incinerator costs that each product generate. Remaining overhead expenses is 60 per kg fertilizer. This is what we have calculated already, which will be allocated equally. So this cost should be equally allocated, 1:1. Okay, now let's see the requirement of the question. So first question is what? Calculate the product wise profitability based on the original cost allocation. So product original cost was traditional method where we have ignored the environmental cost. That means where we have ignored this cost. So by ignoring this cost, first find the cost of the product. This is the question. Then what will happen? Recalculate it. The product wise profitability based on activity based costing methodology, environmental management accounting. So first you have to calculate it traditionally, then you have to calculate it considering the environmental cost, activity based costing. All right. Okay, now let's see how we will do it. So if you will see, initially this was the only question. This was the question, right? We were producing product Y and Z. We have these costs, right? Rupees. These are the costs we have here. And we have, the respective allocation basis also given here. Accordingly, you can find the cost. We have already understand this. We have these costs. We have the cost allocation. Just do it. Okay, let's do this. So what do we have here? 90 divide into 3 divided by 10, 27. So here this value will be coming as 27. This will be coming as 27. Okay, then next value. 9 into 7. So this is coming as 63. Then 60, 60. This will be equal. Then 27, 63. All right. So just do it accordingly. Do it. Solve this accordingly. Yes, please solve it accordingly. You can see in the solution, it is quite complicated, but it is not that much complicated. You can see, you can make it in this way also, and it is not at all complicated, right? It is very easy to solve it. Okay, now let's allocate the labor cost. Let's allocate the labor cost. What labor cost do we have here? 60. 18. 42. Okay, this is 40, 40. And this is okay. So these are the, and last one, overhead cost equally 75, 75. Okay, so this is the total cost. You can just add it to find the total cost. So 265 is the total cost for the company. 265 is the total cost for the company. Next one is what? 63 plus 60 plus 63 plus 42 plus 40 plus 42 plus 75. So this will be 385, right? So these are the total costs for the company. All right. Please let me know this is correct or not. This is correct or not? Yes. Okay. Next. consider the sale value, and then you can find the profitability, right? So what is the sale price here for this product? Okay, let me write the sale price also. So this was your cost, right? Sale price is what? Sale price, or the sale, total sale value. Total sale value. What will be the total sale value? What is it? It is given actually. So 280 per kg, because everything is in kg, right? Per kg, per kg, per kg. So we will consider the sale also per kg, which is 280. You know? And here it is for this 400 per kg. So sale minus total cost will give you profit, right? So you can find the profit now. This is the total cost. Sale minus total cost will be the profit, right? Okay, let's find the profit now. 280 minus 265. So 15 is the profit here. And for the next one, it is 400 minus 385. I think it is coming as 15. 15. 15. So this is coming here as profit for both the product. Is it okay? Is there any doubt? Please write in comment if you have any doubt. 15. Now profitability ratio, if you want, you can calculate the profitability ratio also. Right? These are the profit from these two products. If you want, you can calculate the profitability ratio also. So what is the profitability ratio here? 15 divided by total sale 280. 15 divided by total sale 400. So 15 divided by 280, 5.35%. Right, and this one 15 divided by 400, 3.75%. Right, so the point is that in this way you can find the profitability ratio, right? You can see this is the profit coming here, this is the profitability ratio. Don't need to do in this way, right? It is quite complicated. You can do it in a very simple way, the way I have done here, right? So you can see you can do it straight in this way. It is easy for you to solve it in this way, right? Take material first, their respective basis of allocation, take labor then, and their respective basis of allocation, then overhead, their respective basis of allocation, allocate all the costs to the product, total cost minus sale, you will get the profit, right? So this is how traditionally they were calculating it. All right, so you have done first portion of the question. What was the question? The question was this. The question was this. Give me 1 minute. This was the question. Calculate the product-wise profitability based on original cost allocation. So this was original cost of allocation where they have completely ignored the environmental management accounting. Now let's do the, now we have to recalculate and we have to refine the product profitability considering the environmental management accounting also. Means we have to do it again, right? Okay, give me 1 minute. So we have to do this question again and considering the management accounting, environmental management accounting. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so if you will see here, what do we have here? We have the information about, we have these information here, right? We have what information? That instead of overhead cost as 150 here, we have 150 overhead cost here, right? What is it? Yes. So we have 150 overhead cost here. So previously also we had 150 overhead cost, but here what they have done, they have classified this 150 overhead cost. They were saying that, see, this was overhead cost. Previously we have allocated it equally to the product, right? Equally. Right, we have allocated this cost equally, but now what we have to do, we have to reclassify these overhead costs as what, 90 and 60. And then what we have to do, 60 should be allocated equally to both the product, 90 should be allocated using this. Using this, what we have to do, we have to allocate the cost. All right. Okay, let's see how we will do this. So let me do one thing. If you will see, what portion will remain same in the next method, what portion will remain same, this will remain same, right? All this portion will remain same. Give me 1 minute. I'm solving it in the same sheet. So if you will consider environmental management accounting, all these will remain same, right? But what will change? This overhead cost has changed. Now they are reclassifying this overhead cost as how? Overhead cost. They are reclassifying it as 60,000 cost and 90,000 cost. So these 60,000 costs will be allocated equally to the product. So 30 and 30. This will be allocated directly, but how will you allocate this overhead cost? 90. For the allocation of this overhead cost, they have given you some more information here. What is this information? This is the information. All right. On the basis of this information, you have to allocate the cost. All right. Okay. Give me 1 minute. So if you will see here, what we have to do, we have to allocate the overhead cost, which is 150. 150 will be classified as 60 and 90. 60 will be allocated equally, right? Equally. But 90 will be allocated using this. So we have what? 90. Take a 90 cost. First allocate it here in this ratio. Then what will happen? Whatever will come here will be, just give me 1 minute. So we will allocate this 90 using these ratios, right? Using this, we will allocate 90. Okay, give me 1 minute. Let me consider this. Okay. So here, what we have to consider this. All right, we have to consider this to allocate overhead cost 90. All right. Okay. So what do we have? Give me 1 minute. Okay, let's do the allocation first here. Let's do the allocation first here. What is it? 90 cost. So first we will allocate it on the basis of this ratio, right? Then whatever the cost will come here, you will allocate it here on these ratio, 2:3:1, right? Okay, give me 1 minute. So first we have 6 plus 9 is what? 15. So 90 into 6 divided by 15. So this is coming as 36 here and minus 90, 54, 36 and 54. All right. Okay. So for this, it is coming as 36. And for this, it is coming as 54. Now 36 will be allocated to these products on what ratio? Give me 1 minute. So 90, you can allocate it here in this way. You have CX1, you have CX2, and you have CX3, right? So what you have to do, 36 you can allocate here in what ratio? 2:3:1 ratio to these product, right? So 36 you can allocate in 2:3:1. All right, so just give me 1 minute. Let me see what is it coming. Okay, so for the first one, it is coming as 12. Here it is coming as 12. Here it is coming as 18, and this 36. Yes. So how I have allocated it? Just divided with 2 plus 3 plus 1, 6. So this will give you 6 values, 6 into 2, 3 into 6, and 1 into 6, right? So this will give me 6, this will give me 18, and this will give me 12, right? So 12, 18, 6. So in this way, you can allocate this 36 cost here. So for this, it will be coming as 12. For this, it will be coming as 18. And for this, it will be coming as 6. Similarly, 54, you can allocate using this ratio, 2:2:5 ratio. All right, so you can use 2:2:5 ratio to allocate how much amount? 54 amount. Okay, let's do this. 2 plus 2 plus 5 is what? 9. So you can consider 50. So you can consider 54 here. 54 divided by 9. (54 divided by 9). This will give you 6. Right? Again, you will get 6. So 12, 12, 30. These values you will get. Hai na? So 12 here, 12 here, and 30 here. So this is how you will allocate the overhead. So this is how you will allocate the overhead of 90. Here you are allocating the overhead of 90 rupees. Here you have allocated the overhead of 60 rupees. So accordingly, you will overhead. Overhead is here allocated on the basis of environmental management accounting, ABC, activity-based costing. Right? So here we have allocated overhead cost, same 150 amount, considering the environmental management accounting, considering the activity-based costing, considering whatever the information they have provided. So like here they have given waste produced is on the basis of this ton weight is the waste produced by these product respectively. These cost center respectively. These are the ton of waste these cost centers are producing. So accordingly, you will allocate the overhead cost on the basis of waste produced. Because it is what overhead cost, because here we are considering the overhead cost as a part of environment, means whatever the environment related cost we have is also considered as a part of overhead. ठीक है. So it environmental related cost, maybe it is prevention cost, maybe it is appraisal cost, maybe it is internal failure cost, maybe it is external failure cost, whatever the cost it is, we are allocating, we are considering all this cost in overhead. Okay. Okay. So this is how we will do this question. I hope it is clear. Is there any doubt? Okay. So this is how we will find the overhead cost here. Right? We will find here overhead cost. Okay. Total cost, we will find it here and we will solve it accordingly. Okay. Okay. So you can see, though they have solved it, you can see here the calculation is very long, very lengthy, but you don't need to solve it in this way, right? You don't need to solve it in this way. You can see here the calculation is very long, right? Very lengthy calculation we have, but you don't need to do it in this way. You can see it is very simple, right? It's very simple, right? So you don't need to do it in this way. It's very simple here. All right. I hope it is clear. If there is any doubt, please tell me. We will take it in next. We will take it, right? Okay. So we have done this question also. Yes, we have done this question. Okay, let's do some more question. So we have done two questions of environmental management accounting. You can see the questions are lengthy, but actually if you will solve them, actually the solution is not at all lengthy, right? If you will solve them, they are actually not lengthy. The question is lengthy, but the solution is not lengthy at all, right? Okay, so we have done this question. Now let's do one thing. Let's take some more question from other topic. Okay. Okay. So I have this topic, target costing we have to do. We have done this question in last session. I'll take this question. All right. But before that, let's take this question first only. Okay. So before solving this question, I want all of you to read it. Please read it. Read the question quickly. Read it. Okay, so read this question and we will solve it. Read this entire question. So actually we have left this question in first session. So, read this question and we have left this question in our last session, last session, because of time constraint. So we will cover it today. So again, if you will see, the questions are lengthy, but actually they are not at all lengthy, right? They are not at all lengthy. Questions, it looks lengthy, but if you know the concept, if you know how to deal with these questions, you will find them very easy to solve, right? You'll find them very easy to solve. Now let's see, what do we have here? Okay, let's see. Let's solve this question. So we have what Royal Limited forms a panel consists of its production, marketing, and finance director to prepare the budget for the next year. The panel submits a draft budget as detailed. Selling price per unit is given here. The direct material cost, direct labor cost, variable overhead cost is given here, right? So if you add these costs, it is coming as 24. Then contribution per unit, because you know that selling price minus variable cost is contribution. So contribution per unit is given here. Then budgeted sale quantity is given here. We know the budgeted sale quantity here. All right. Then they have calculated the total contribution, subtracted the fixed overhead cost, and then they have calculated the budgeted profit here. All right. Then management of the Royal Limited is not happy with the budgeted profit, as it is almost equal to previous year profit. Therefore, it asks the panel to prepare a budget to earn at least a profit of 5 lakh, 3 lakh. So their expectation is not to earn 1,50,000. Instead, they want to earn how much? Instead of 1,50,000, they want to earn how much? 3 lakh. This is their expectation. This is what they want to earn here. All right. Okay. What else? To achieve the target profit, the panel report back with the following suggestions. Right? With the following suggestions. So the profit they want to earn here is 3 lakh. To achieve the target profit, panel reports back with the following suggestion. What is the suggestion here? The unit selling price raised to 55. So instead of 50, this price should be raised to 55 here. All right. Okay. Then sale volume should increase by 5,000 units. So how many units we are selling here? 25,000. So it should increase from 25,000 to 30,000. By 5,000 units, the sale should be increased. Then what happened? To attain the above increase in sale, the Royal Limited should spend 40,000 advertisement. So here the overhead cost is also increased by 40,000. Overhead cost is increased here by 40,000. Production time per unit should be reduced. Okay, so the time which they are taking here to produce the goods, this should be reduced, right? They want to reduce this time here. All right. The production time per unit should be reduced to win the acceptance of the worker. In this regard, the hourly rate should increase by 3. So the point is that hourly rate, the payment which they are making here to the labor, this rate has increased. It has increased rupees 3 per hour. This rate which they are paying to the labor is increased by 3 per hour. Okay. What else we have? And they are, labor is working efficiently, more efficiently. He's taking less time here. See what is written here. Production time is reduced here. So what is the meaning that the production time is reduced? The labor has become more efficient now. They are working very efficiently now. And because of that, the labor time has reduced. But if the time will reduce, labor will say, I need bonus. If you want me to do it quickly, I need bonus. So for that reason, the company is paying bonus to the labor. They have increased their rate and they're paying bonus to them because the labor is working efficiently. We have studied this in CA Inter. When the labor work efficiently and he take less time to do some work, what will happen? He is efficient, he will save other resources. Why we want our labor to be efficient? Because if your labor will be efficient, instead of 3 hours, maybe instead of 3 hours, he will complete the same task in 2.5 hours, he will save Adha Ghanta. Once he will save half an hour, what will happen? Those half an hour can be used for the, once you saved any time, it is not just saving the time of the labor, but other resources will also be saved. Because until the labor will work, we need other overheads. If the labor will work, we need electricity, because for the work we need electricity. If the labor will work, machine will work. If the labor will work, we need other resources. So if labor hour will be reduces, accordingly other variable overhead costs will be reduced. So actually the point is that labor work is actually associated with what? efficiency, labor efficiency or labor work is actually associated with other variable overhead, other overheads. Why? Because if the labor will work, machine will be used. If the labor will work, depreciation of machine. If the labor will work, fuel will be used. If the labor will work, electricity will be used. If the labor will save his time, all these resources will be saved. So the point is that our focus is to save the labor time. So if the labor time will be saved, other costs will also be saved. So once the labor will say here, okay, I'm saving your time. So for saving your time, I'm saving your resources. I need bonus for that. So for that reason here, what is happening? The company is paying bonus to the labor. So for that reason, the company is paying bonus to them. Then what is happening? There is no chance in the amount or rate of other expenses. Okay. The Royal Limited has sufficient production capacity as the implementation of the above proposal needs the acceptance of workforce to increase the speed of work and to reduce the production time. Dekho, when the speed of work will increase, efficiency of labor will increase, what will happen? The production time will decrease. So labor will produce the goods quickly. So accordingly, you will manage to save your overhead cost also. These overhead costs will also be reduced here. All right, the board wants to know the extent of reduction. How much time is saved here? The board want to know how much time is saved here. All right, so we have calculated, if you remember, see what is the question? Calculate the target production time per unit and the time to be reduced. So how much time is the labor is taking to produce the goods, and how much time the labor is taking to produce the goods, and how much time is saved here, you have to calculate it here. Right? We have to calculate it here. All right. So if you remember in last session, we have calculated the production cost. What will be the production cost here? We will calculate it here. All right. We will calculate the production cost here quickly. So can you tell me from here what will be the production cost? So we will consider what the sale value. From the sale, we will reduce the desired profit. We will get the total cost. But apart from the labor cost, we will reduce all the costs. Okay? Apart from labor cost and variable overhead cost, we will reduce all the cost here. Okay? Let's do it. Let's do it here. Okay, let's do this. So what do we have here? Consider the sale value. So you know the sale value has increased now from 50 to 55. And the number of units sold is also increased from 25,000 to 30,000. Right? This will give you total sale value. Just find it. What is the total sale value? 30,000 into 55. So this is giving you 16,50,000. Right? This is the total sale value. Now let's consider the desired profit, less desired profit. Desired profit is what? 3 lakh. Instead of 1,50,000, the company wants to maintain a profit of 3 lakh. See, we are doing here the reverse calculation actually. This will give you total cost, right? What is the total cost coming here? So 13,50,000 is the total cost coming here. है ना? अब देखो, out of this total cost, what is your material cost? What is your budgeted fixed cost? Then you have paid here bonus, then you are paying advertisement costs. You have to reduce all these costs so that we can get only the variable overhead cost and labor cost, because we need to find here the time which we are saving. What is the question? You have to find the time which we are saving here. how much time we are saving here. So how much time we are saving here, for the calculation of that, we need to find out how much cost we are incurring, total cost we are incurring here. So with the help of total cost that we are incurring here for the labor and variable overhead, with the help of the total cost, it is easy for us to find out what time we are saving. So we are doing a reverse calculation here. So first we have considered the total cost. Out of this, reduce the material cost, reduce the fixed cost, reduce the advertisement cost, reduce the this bonus cost, right? Okay, let's do this. So what do we have here? Less what we have here, material cost. So what is the material cost here? Rupees 9, sorry. Rupees 9 is the material cost, right? Okay. And how many units we have? 30,000 units, right? 270 is the material cost. You will reduce it here. Then less, what is the budgeted fixed overhead? So the budgeted fixed overhead is 5 lakh. Right, then what we have here, less, we have advertisement cost. What is the advertisement cost here? 40,000. Then what do we have here? Bonus, less bonus. 30. Right? These are the costs which we are having. If you will remove all these costs, you will only get the cost out of the total cost. You can see what I'm doing here. Out of the total cost, I have removed all the cost except the variable cost and labor cost, except these two costs, right? I have not reduced these two costs, labor cost and variable overhead cost. Except these two costs, I've reduced all the cost. So if from the total cost you will remove all the cost, you will only get the total cost of labor cost and variable overhead cost. So for that reason, I've done the same thing here, right? Okay, so now let's see what is it coming. So 1650 minus no 1350 minus 2,70,000 minus 5 lakh minus 40,000 minus 30,000. So you can see 5,10,000 is coming here. 5,10,000 is coming here, and this is actually the cost of labor cost and variable overhead cost. This is what total labor cost and variable overhead cost. This is the total cost coming here, this cost, right? You have calculated this cost here. What is it coming here? 5,10,000. Right? This is coming here. Now, with the help of these total costs, you people have to find out the time, because the point is that we are saving the time here. Time required for the production. We are saving this time here. So actually, if you will see, they have classified it. Give me 1 minute. So if you will see in the explanation, they have taken some conditions. Right? They have taken some conditions here. 3 conditions here. They have taken 3 alternatives here, 3 conditions. Right? You know these two costs is 5,10,000. What? Labor and variable overhead cost. Total cost is 5,10,000. Right? Okay. Now the point is that they have actually considered 3 conditions, 3 alternate. Alternate 1. Right? Alternate 2. 2 and alternate 3. So we have taken 3 alternate here. We have taken here 3 alternate 1, alternate 2, alternate 3, and we will see what will be our labor cost. What will be our labor cost plus our variable overhead cost. That will be equal to 5,10,000. This is what we have done. So how we will calculate the labor cost and how we will calculate the variable overhead cost. Now let's assume the first condition that we are paying the labor 9 rupees per unit. And the labor is saving some time. We don't know what is the time he is taking here for the production. We have to find it. Okay. And for the 1 hour, we are paying how much? 2 rupees to them. Right? We are paying this rupees to them. Right? And the time he is saving for 1 unit. And here we are producing total how many units? 30,000 units. Right? So accordingly, we have to find it here, the value. All right. Here we are producing how many units? 30,000 units. All right. Okay. So how many units we are producing? 30,000 units. And the point is that it is given in the question that the labor is increased, that their wages is increased by 3 rupees. So this could be one alternate where you can find where we are assuming this is fixed for the labor. Right? For 1 unit, we are paying this fixed amount. This amount is not paid on the basis of hour worked. We can make the payment to the labor on the basis of number of units, or we can make the payment to the labor on the basis of hour. So here they are assuming that we are making the payment to the labor on the basis of number of units. 1 unit labor rate. So for example, we are assuming that we are paying 12 rupees to the labor for producing 1 unit. So earlier we were paying 9 rupees for 1 unit. Now this rate has increased by rupees 3. So now we are paying 12 rupees per unit to the labor. It is not on the basis of time. But yes, a variable overhead is on the basis of time. We don't know how much time we are taking and how much time we have saved. Right? So we are just assuming, okay, now we are taking X time. So this will be the total variable overhead cost. This will be total labor cost, and if you will solve them, it will equal to total labor and overhead cost. So this will be equal to total labor and overhead cost. Right? Right. So this is on the basis of per unit, you can say, not on the basis of hour payment to the labor. And this is what variable overhead is on the basis of hour. So just solve it, you will get the answer. Okay. Just solve this, you will get the answer. So this is 12 into 30,000. Yeah. Right? Plus 2x into 30,000 is equals to 5,10,000. Right? Now what will happen? 60 x is equals to 5,10,000. 5,10,000 minus 12. Okay, give me 1 minute. Write this value. Solve this, you will get the answer. So 5,10,000 minus 360. So this is coming as 1,50,000. If I subtract them, divide by 60,000 x. So this is coming as divide by 60,000. 2.5 hour. So what is happening here? The labor is taking 2.5 hour to produce. No. 2.5 hour is the overhead rate. 2.5 hour is the overhead rate. 2.5 hour is the time taken to produce the goods. This is overhead rate. So earlier, what was the time? You can see here, the time was what? 3 hour. For the variable overhead, earlier the time was 3 hour. Now you are taking 2.5 hour. So how much time is saved here? 0.5. मतलब आधा घंटा is saved here. 0.5 hour is saved here. So you are saving this time here. For the production of goods, variable overheads. For the production of overheads or goods, you are saving this time. What was your assumption while solving this question? Your assumption was that to labor, you are making the payment on per unit basis. You know that we can make the payment to the labor on the basis of labor hour or per day or per unit. So there are various bases on which we make the payment to the labor. So here we are just assuming that we will make the payment to the labor on the basis of units, number of units. On the basis of that, we are making the payment to the labor. All right. Okay. Next assumption. Next is what? In the next case, we will assume that we are not making the payment on the unit basis. Instead, we will assume that we will make the payment to the labor on the basis of hour. On the basis of hour, we are making the payment. So, acha chalo. Let's take the next assumption, which is on the basis of hour. Not on the basis of unit, but we are making the payment to the labor on the basis of hour. So let's make the comparison. Like previously, what happened? 3 hour for variable overhead. So obviously here also the labor is taking 3 hours, because the point is that the time period for which the labor will work, accordingly the overhead will be used. The time period for which the labor will work, machine will work. The time period for which the labor will work, depreciation will be there. The time period for which the labor will work, electricity will be used. The time period for which the labor will work, fuel will be used. The time period for which the labor will work, accordingly other resources will be used. So here we are assuming that we are making the payment to the labor on the basis of labor hour. So we are assuming that labor is taking 3 hours for 1 unit. And total amount we are paying ₹9. That means per hour we are paying 3 rupees to them. We are paying the labor per hour 3 rupees. And it is given in the question that we are increasing the rate per hour 3 rupees. So now we will pay 6 rupees per hour to the labor. This is the second assumption, because the question is not clear. 3 rupees is increase for unit or 3 rupees is increase for hour, right? We are assuming different alternate. Okay. So now we are assuming that the labor is taking 3 hours for 1 unit. They are taking 3 hours, and we are making the payment for 1 hour. We are making 3 rupees to the labor. Okay. But that was an old method. Now it is changed. Instead of 3, now we are making 6 rupees. For 1 hour, we are making the payment of ₹6. Right? This is the payment which we are making now. Okay, now the assumption is changed. We are making the payment on the basis of labor hour. Now see how we will solve it. So we know that labor cost plus variable overhead cost, right? This will give the total cost to the company, which is 5,10,000. This is the total cost of the company. All right. Now for the labor cost, what we are assuming here for the labor cost, we are assuming that we are paying 3 plus 3. Earlier 3, but now 3 more. This much we are making payment to the labor. And for variable overhead, we are paying ₹2. So this is what we are making payment for the variable overhead per hour. Now here we are assuming both the payment are made on the basis of hour. Labor, we are paying labor per hour, and we are incurring variable overhead as per hour. While here what you have assumed, labor, we were making the payment on the unit basis, and variable overhead cost was incurring on the basis of labor hour work. our work. Okay, but here we are assuming that we will make the payment to the labor, and we are making payment to the labor as well as variable overhead on the basis of hour. Both are on the basis of hour now. Okay, they are both on the basis of hour. So we are just considering here what will be the total hour that we will consider here, that will be equal to 5,10,000. Right, now solve this question, solve this. Okay, so how it will happen, what will happen here, just add it. So 3 plus 3, 6, plus 2, 8. 8 into x is equals to 5,10,000. Number of unit also, sorry. We are producing how many units? This is for 1 unit, right? This will come for 1 unit. And here we are producing how many units? 30,000 units. So just multiply it with the number of units also. Into 30,000. Right? Now find the value of x here. So 5,10,000 divided by 30,000 divided by 8. Can I solve it? And tell me what is it coming. Let me solve it for you. So this will be what here? This will be 5,10,000. This will be 5,10,000. 510 divided by 30,000. Give me 1 minute. 5,10,000 divided by 30,000 divided by 8, right? So this is coming as 2.125 hour. All right, this is coming as 1.25. So this is coming as time is 2. So this is coming as 2.125 hours. 2.125 hours, right? All right. So you can see here what was the time in, if you are considering that we make the payment to the labor on the basis of unit, the time will be taken 2.5 hour instead of 3 hour. If we are assuming that we are making the payment to the labor on the basis of labor hour, both variable overhead and labor payment, both are on the basis of hour you are making the payment, then what will happen? The time taken here will be this, making total payment, how much? We are making payment of 9 rupees. Earlier 9 rupees, plus this payment has increased by 3, and this total amount 12 rupees we are paying for 3 hours. So for 1 hour you will get how much money we are paying to the labor. For 1 hour, how much labor payment we are doing. Plus we will see what is the variable overhead we are incurring. Variable overhead was how much? 2 rupees per hour. Now these two costs are both on the basis of hour. Per hour. Then what will happen? We will multiply this with the total hour. Then we will multiply it with the total unit, 30,000. That should be equal to total cost, which is 5,10,000. So solve it, right? So 4 plus 2 into x is equals to 5,10,000 divided by 30,000. Right? So what is it? 51 divided by 3, 17 divided by 6, x, right? See, what is it coming now? If I divide these two values, what will be the answer? 17 divided by 6, 2.83. Now here, if I'll consider it in this way, 2.83 hour. Per hour, the cost will be 2.83. $2.83 per hour. This is the amount which we are paying per hour. So you can see why they have taken 3 alternate, because the question was not clear that how you are making this payment. 3 rupees is increasing, but how? Is it per unit that the amount is increasing, or per hour the amount is increasing, or how the amount is increasing is not clear. For that reason, they have taken 3 alternate. Right? And 3 alternate is saying, okay, I'm assuming that we are making the payment to the labor on the basis of unit. I'm assuming that we are making the payment to the labor on the basis of labor hour, or we are assuming that whatever the total amount we are paying, that will be on labor hour. So we have taken 3 assumption, and on the basis of 3 assumption, we have 3 times, right? It will be either 2.5 5 rupees per hour, or either it will be 2.125 rupees per hour, or it will be 2.83 rupees per hour, based on the assumption, what assumption we have taken, right? So you can see even in the solution, they have taken these 3 alternate for a reason. Why they have taken these 3 alternate, 2.5, 2.125 and 2.83 is coming here. Why they have taken these 3 assumptions? For a reason, because it was not clear in the question that how the time is extra 3 rupees is taken, right? How they have taken those extra 3 rupees. So for that reason, it is considered in this way. All right. So you can see the total time earlier was 3. Now they are taking 2.5 hours. So they have saved 0.5 hour here. Similarly, earlier the time was here in this case 3 hour. They have taken 2.125 hour. So the time saving is this if they take this assumption, right? And earlier the time was 3. Now they have taken 2.83 per hour for the production. If they take this assumption, based on assumption, how much time they are taking to produce the goods, overhead, variable overheads, how much time they have taken, right? So the point is that if you will see in the question, it was given earlier they were taking 3 hours for production. So earlier they have taken 3 hours. Labor has taken 3 hours for production. Now what is happening? Labor have become more efficient. Labor has become more efficient. For that reason, they will take less time here. Labor are more efficient. For that reason, they will take less time to produce the goods. But the point is that if the labor will increase their efficiency, the labor amount which you will pay, wages which you will pay to the labor will change. Wages which you will pay to the labor will change. Accordingly, labor cost will change. Similarly, if the labor time will improve, variable overhead will change. Because the time for which the labor will work, accordingly you will incur the variable overheads. If the labor will work efficiently, variable overheads will reduce. So for that reason, we have considered labor cost and variable overhead cost equal to total variable cost, total labor cost and variable overhead cost. And then accordingly, we are assuming that what time they will take. If we have increased the amount of the labor, if we have increased the amount of the labor, how much time they are taking under different conditions. So we have calculated here how much time they are saving if our assumption will be different. And accordingly, they have calculated, see here, labor rate per unit. You can see here they are assuming that they are making the payment per unit. Right? Okay, they have calculated the labor rate per unit. Maybe this is the requirement of the question. Calculate the target production time per unit and the time to be reduced per unit. Okay, that's it. This is the question. Okay, they are not asking for labor rate. That's an extra information here. That's it. Okay. What is the next part of the question? Identify the other problem that may arise in production due to decrease in unit production time. Labor is now efficient. The efficiency of the labor has increased. Now they are saying that if labor will do the work quickly, efficiently, then what are the other problems that may arise in the company? If the labor is working very quickly, what are the other problems that may arise in the company? And what are the remedial action you will suggest under such cases? Right? Okay, so what is given here? So target costing method is applicable particularly for repetitive manufacturing. You can see labor will take less time if he follow the learning curve. When the labor will repeat the same task again and again, what will happen? His efficiency increases. So they have also given that target costing can be applicable in repetitive task, right? So some of the product or the process are very high degree of repetition. You know, learning curve is applicable when the labor is working the same task again and again, repeating the same task again and again. Learning curve is applicable, right? That reduces the labor cost and increases the efficiency of the labor, right? So accordingly, this thing is happening here, right? But sometime this may happen, no? The task become very monotonous, and it reduces the focus of the labor. That are all demerits of, you know, working the same task, right? The same, repeating the same task. So accordingly, you can suggest them the remedial measures which you can take here. Okay. So it is mentioned that in you can lock most of the cost during the designing phase. You know that we incur 80% cost in designing phase. Log and do the value engineering here. Find all the non-valuated activity here. Remove all the non-valuated activity from here. Right. We will do all these things here. All right. So this was the question we had. Let's do some more question. One more question. We still have time, half an hour. Okay, this question. Let's do one more question. All right. Okay. Acha, do you have any doubt here? Do you have any doubt? Yes. Any doubt? Yes, Janvi. In exam also, you have to write the 3 alternate for a reason, because it is not clear in the question. है ना? When the question will be clear, you can just write 1 alternate, है ना? Whatever the question is given to you. But if it is not clear, then they have taken these alternate because it was not clear in the question. So accordingly, in exam also, you have to make the 3 alternates. Yes, you have to make 3 alternates. All right. Is the question clear? The question is clear and the explanation is clear. Then I'll take this question. Yes. Is it clear, dear? Okay, let's read the question. Take your time. I'll give you 5 minutes. Just read it. Take your time and read the question. Take your time and read the question quickly. Yes, I hope you all have done the reading. Let's discuss this question now. So what is happening? XYZ Private Limited is specialized car garage door installation company. XYZ Private Limited received multiple services calls from the customer with variety of requirements. Okay. Now they must have install, replace, adjust, or lubricate some of the part or other to make the door function. Okay, so the point is that the company is engaged in a business of door installation and they provide the services related to that. Okay, what type of services? Installation of the doors, replacement of the doors, adjustment of the doors, or lubricant, putting the lubricant on the doors. These are the These are the function, door function, which is provided by XYZ Private Limited. All right. Okay. They work with 5 parts as given in the table. What 5 parts they provide? They provide door. Okay. They provide door. Then they provide motor, track, trimmer, T-lock system, and miscellaneous services. So track means, GPRS tracking system kind of things, right? Okay. Now, what is the question? Using the above information, carrying out the Pareto analysis, you have to do the Pareto analysis on what? Total part. Remember, be very careful when you are reading the question. So here you have to do the Pareto analysis for this. This is the total part, right? You have to do the Pareto analysis for this. Okay, next question. Using the same data, carry out the second level of Pareto analysis. After this, again do a Pareto analysis, but on what? On the type of services with respect to motor only. You don't have to do Pareto analysis on everything. Now, second option, in case of second option, you have to do the Pareto analysis only for this. Give me 1 minute. Only for motor, this. Right? For this, you have to do the Pareto analysis. Motors. For motors, you have to do the Pareto analysis. All right. Okay. So accordingly, we have to do the total on the total, and then we have to do the Pareto analysis on motor. Then we have to give the recommendations. Let's do this question. So let's do this question. First on the total units, right? So what are the total units which we are producing? These are the total units we are producing. First we arrange them in descending order. है ना? First we arrange them in descending order. So highest one is what? This is the highest one. Then the second highest one is this. Then the third highest one is this. Then the fourth highest one is this. The fifth highest one is this. And the sixth highest one is this. Right? So based on the amount, we have to arrange them in descending order for Pareto analysis. All right. Okay. So the first one is what? Motor. What is the total value? 30. Give me 1 minute. What was the question? Total parts. Okay. So the question is total part, not for the services. You have to check it, right? So I just want to check that what is it for, right? Because we have, for the total, we have 2 things here, services also, and we have the total parts also. If you will read the question, it may create confusion. Should I make the Pareto for this or this? So it is clearly given in the question that we have to make it for the part, not for the services, right? You have to make the Pareto chart for the parts, not for the service. All right. We have to make it for the parts, not for the services. All right. We are assuming the parts. First is motor. So motor have the highest part, 30. Then after that, trimmer. Arrange them in descending order. So what is the value? 20. Then track. What is it? 17. Then door. What is it? 8. Then T-lock system. These are all part, right? These are all part. And we have to solve it for the parts. In the question, it is mentioned. 6. Be very careful. When you are reading the question, be very careful. Read each and every line carefully. Very careful. So give your time. When you have the question in exam, give your time on reading the question carefully. All right, be very careful. So T-lock and then miscellaneous. What is it? 4. So what I have done, I have just arranged them in descending order. All right. Okay. Now see what is the total value. So what I can see, the total value is 85 here. So I'm just writing it in this way. If you will see in the question, cumulative frequency is also calculated. I don't think it is required. Okay. You can just find the percentage now. Instead of finding cumulative frequency, just find the percentage straight. Right. Okay. I don't think that we need, I mean, you can calculate it as it is a part of presentation, but in exam, maybe you have less time, maybe less time is left. So you can do it directly also. You will get the answer actually. Okay. 30 divided by 85. This is coming as 35%, 35.29%. Okay, the second one is what? 20 divided by 85. So this is coming as 23.53%. Then the next one is what? 17 divided by 85. 17 divided by 85. So this is coming as 20%. Then the next one is what? 8 divided by 85. So this is coming as 9.4%. Then it is coming as 6 divided by 85. So this is coming as 7.05%. Then what do we have? 4. 4 divided by 85%. So this is coming as 4.71%. Right? So in this way, you can find these percentage directly. Then just check. Now, cumulative of this is required, right? To know when will it reach to 80%. So add these two values, see what is it coming. 35.29 plus 23.53. So this is coming as 58.82. Right? Then when I'll add this with this value, cumulative 78.82. We have reached to 80%, almost 80% here. So you can see actually the most important part for the company are these three products: motor, trimmer, and these are the most important part which the company is selling, right? And track. These three are the most important part which the company is selling. If you want, we can check. Right? So you can see motor, trimmer, and track are the most important part the company is selling. These three parts. These three parts are the most important parts which the company is selling. All right. Okay. So the company should focus on these three parts. All right. Now let's do it on the basis of what? Let's do it on the basis of let's do it for what the next question, the next part of the question. What was the next part of the question? Using the data of motors, prepare a Pareto analysis chart. What are the important parts on which we have to focus in case of motors? So this is my question for the total parts. Now let's consider the next portion. Okay. Okay, so we have the data. Now we will prepare it. We will prepare it for motors. All right. So where is the motor? This is the motor, right? This is the motor. All right. So what do we have here? You can see the sum, this value, this value, this value, this value will give a sum of 30. है ना? Arrange it for the motor, Pareto chart for motor, right? Now we are preparing the Pareto chart for motor. All right. Okay. So we have what? Highest is adjust, motor adjustment, right? Then after that, lubricating, you know, lubricating. Then what we have? Installation services. Then we have replacement, motor replacement, right? So if you will see, out of the total 30, motor adjustment is how much? 16 times. And 9 times motor lubricant. 3 times services. And replacement is 2 times, right? So the total is coming as 30. All right. Now the point is that find their percentage, then find the cumulative frequency. Don't find cumulative here. It is of no use actually, right? So you can avoid that step of finding cumulative here. Okay. Find the percentage now. So 16 divided by 30. What is it coming? 53.33%. Right. The next one is 9 divided by 30. 9 divided by 30. This is coming as 30%. Then 3 divided by 30, obviously 10%. Then 2 divided by 30. 2 divided by 30. This is coming as 6.67%. Right. So in this way, you will get the percentage. You will see here these two values, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 83.33%, right? So maximum focus should be on adjustment and lubricating of motors, motor adjustment and motor lubricant, right? This is what the place where the organization should focus more in case of motor. And if you will see in case of part, which portion should be focused more on the motors, on the trimmer, on the track, the company should focus more. And you can see out of these 3 products, on the trimmer, tracking system and motor, out of these 3 systems, the most important system is motor. And even in case of motor, we have discussed that even in case of motor, the most focus the company should be on the adjustment, motor adjustment and motor lubricant. So you can see in this way the company can set their priorities, that out of all the, you can see the company is dealing with all such products, right? Door, motor, tracking system, trimmer, T-lock system, miscellaneous. The company is providing all these services. So you can see out of all these services, the most important service is motor. You can see the most important service is motor. And out of all the services related to motor, the company is providing the most important services adjustment. If you will ask me out in this table, ma'am, which one is the most important service and the part of the company? Which one is the most important service and part of the company? If you will ask me, I will say this is the most important part and the service of the company, right? Motor is the most important part of the company, and out of all the services provided for the motor, this is the most important service. Adjustment of the motor is the most important service, right? So this if you compare, if you consider the entire business, this is the place where the company should focus most. The company should focus more here in this place. All right. Okay. So you can see accordingly, give your recommendation. So accordingly, you will give the recommendation in both the cases. Here, the company should focus on motor, and here out of the motor, the company should focus on adjustment, right? So this is how you can give here your recommendations. You can see how easy it is to answer, right? All right. So you can see, if you want, you can read the question. All right, 58.82% is on what? Motor. There are three product: motor, trimmer, and you can answer it accordingly. I have already given you the recommendations that the company should focus on these three product. Out of them, these product will be 58.82%, but we consider 80%. So these three product are important, but out of them, the motor is the most important product. And in case of motor also, out of all the services, this is the most important service, right? So this is how we give the recommendations. All right. Okay, let's do some more questions. We have time, 10 minutes. Okay, let's take some more questions. We have done this question. Okay, let's take a question of life cycle costing also. I've taken almost the question from every topic, all right? And you can see the question is so easy. If you focus on understanding the concept, when your concepts are clear, you can see how easy it is to solve these questions. They're not at all difficult and so easy to get 20 marks, 10 marks, 15 marks. It's so easy to get it in this way. Point is that you focus on understanding the concepts. If your concepts will be clear, it is so easy to write the answer. You can see they're so simple, they're so easy, right? Okay, let me take a small question from here so that we can wind up on time. Okay, this question, let's do this question. This is a small question. I hope we can cover it in 5 minutes. Okay, read this question. Read it. Okay, let's do this question quickly. I hope you have done the reading of this question. PNG, Pace and Game, was established in 1980, has enormous wealth of experience in the mold manufacturing industry and service wide range of plastic molds all over nation. Over the past decade, the Space and Game has developed a reputation of quality products and services for customers focus approach. See, what is their approach? I told you we have two approach: product focus and customer focus. You can see when the market is saturated, when the competition is a lot in the market, or it is a buyer market, the company should focus on what? Customer. So it will be what? Customer focus business, customer focus approach. It deals in injection mold, blow molds, die sets, molds base, etc. With a state-of-art infrastructure facility, Pace and Game is able to meet the qualitative and quantitative demand of the clients. Its vision and mission is to provide high-class manufactured product by using best quality raw materials. All right. The Space and Game has developed a new product M, which is about to be launched into the market and anticipated a sale of 80,000 units. So sale is anticipated as how much? 80,000 units. Right? This is the anticipation of the sale. And the selling price is what per unit? The selling price is rupees 300 per unit, right? Per unit. Over the 4 year, the time life of the product is what? Life is 4 year, right? The data pertaining to the product M is all these data. Okay? Cost of designing, developing the molds, dies, and other tools is this. The manufacturing cost per unit is this. The selling cost per year is this. Okay, selling cost is given. And rupees 100 per unit. Okay, this is selling cost. Selling cost means marketing cost, advertisement cost. Administration cost is 50,000 per year. And there is some warranty expenses also. What is it? 5 placement part per 25 units at rupees 10 part.
Right.
So here what will happen? 5 placement part per 25 minutes. 5 placement part per 25 units. At 10 part, 1 visit per 500. So in this way, we have the information. Let's prepare a cost sheet here. Okay. Now, what do we have to do? We have to prepare a cost sheet for 4 years, right? We have to prepare a cost sheet for 4 years. So what we will do, we will prepare a cost sheet considering all these things. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to consider 4 year here. First, we will see, this is given that you have to ignore the time value money. Otherwise, we have to consider time value also, right? In this question, it is clearly given that ignore it. Okay. Now we have to calculate the life cycle costing, right? This is the requirement of the question. So what we have to consider the sale. So what is the sale? They are selling 80,000 units. Okay, and the price is what? 300. This will give you the sale. Just see, this is the sale over the entire life or 1 year. Check it. Always check the information. Okay, if it is for 1 year, then multiply it with 4. If the sale is for entire 4 year, just consider 80,000. Right? Be careful. I told you that you should be careful when you are reading the question. So be very careful when you are reading the question. All right, less you will consider the cost of designs, development and all, right? Cost of design. So what is it? 8 to 5,000. This is the cost of design, right? Then less selling cost. Selling cost is what? Selling cost is what? 1 to 500. This is for 1 year and we have 4 years. Okay. And 100 rupees per unit is also the cost. 100 rupees per unit is also the cost. Total, we have 80,000 units. 80,000 units. Right? So consider it. Selling cost, less administration cost. Right? Less administration cost. What is the administration cost? 50,000 per year. So 50,000 into 4 years. Right? And then what is the information? Warranty expense, 5 replacement part per 25. So on every 25 units, there is a replacement of 5 parts. Oh. So we have how many units? 80,000 units, right? So out of 85,000 units, for every 25, there is a replacement of 5. So this is how you are replacing it. And amount will be 10. For this is the total unit which we are producing, and they are considering 25 unit here. So divide it with 25 units, you will get the total batches in which there will be replacement, and into 5 and into 10. So this will give you the value. And the next one is 1 visit per 500 units. Okay, now how we will calculate this cost? Visit cost. Visit cost. So we have total 80,000 units, divided by 500 units. Okay, divided by 500 units. And then what will happen? Multiply it with 500. You will get number of visits, right? Into 500 rupees. Right? Just multiply all these values, add them, subtract them, you will get the answer, right? You can see here 80,000 divided by 500 into 500. Okay, 80,000 divided by 25 into 5 parts into 10. So this is what I have done here. So this is how we have done here. So you will consider what the total sale value. This will give you the total sale. Subtract the cost of design, subtract the selling cost, subtract the administration cost, subtract the warranty expenses. These are all what? Less warranty expenses. Warranty cost, right? So in case of warranty cost, there is some replacement and some visit cost. When you take the warranty, for example, I have purchased an air condition. It is not in a condition. You will call them, call center, my AC is not working. One engineer will come in your home and he will check it. So this is what visit cost. He will incur some visit cost. A person who is coming here in your home, obviously he has taken some transportation, his, per day salary. So in this way, it will all included in a visit cost. So similarly, we have considered here the visit cost, right? So this visit cost will be a part of warranty. Right. So this is the entire cost over the 4 year. You can see I have considered this entire cost over 4 year. This is a cost over 4 year. Why 4 year? Because the life of the product, the new product life, you can see the new product which you are launching here, their life is 4 year. You can see their entire life is 4 year. All right. Okay. So we have covered almost all the questions, all possible questions I have covered in this session, all possible kind of lengthy question, small question, variety of question, almost the question from every topic we have covered in today's session. So with this, let me wind up the session. And in next session, we are learning a new topic, which is decision making. Again, a complete practical subject. It's not at all a theory subject. So next topic will be practical for us. So with this, let me wind up the session. Thank you so much. Have a nice day, all of you.